Alright, so what I'm going to demonstrate here is how to capture a loop from your phone and put it into the ARQ. One thing that I recommend getting is a metronome app on your phone. It'll make sense in a moment to check the loop settings before you store it. So that's one thing you probably do want to get on your phone. They're free, easy to find. So first step, of course, find your loop. So I'm going to use Whip It, but before I start capturing, there are some settings in here we need to check. So if I go to the menu, I need to go to Settings, and you scroll the select to the Settings, and brings me into my options. And I need to scroll to Capture. So if I hit Enter again on Select, we have three options for capture: stereo and mono, auto stop, and capture with metronome. Stereo mono simply means, are you capturing a stereo signal, i.e. a left and right, or is it okay if you're just capturing one side? Something to note: if you capture in stereo, you are using 2 of the total 16 voices available on the ARQ. So if you know it doesn't need to be stereo, make it mono. But I like capturing stereo because I love the sound of things in stereo. So I'm going to leave it on that. And I'm just going to hit menu to get out. Go to auto stop, and this is another important setting, so I have to select it. And this screen right here is asking how long is your loop need to be, and it'll automatically stop after 8 quarter notes. That's what I have it set to right now. You can change this. You can change it anything you want. Down to 1, which is 1 beat, which is going to do you no good. 4 for capturing 1 measure. 8 for capturing 2. 12 for 3. 16 for 4, and so on. Normally, I'm just capturing 2 measures. I usually find that works really well. So I'm going to set it on 8. Back out of that. Other setting I highly recommend is capture with metronome. I do have that turned on. This will allow me to hear if the metronome is about right for my capture. The thing it is the capture is going to start immediately. Let me show you why. One other setting, and you have to get back out of the menu. Just go back a screen, and the setting you want to go to is going to be found. Go back to the main screen. It's going to be found under your metronome settings, and that is your pre-count. Currently have it off. Now the default is 4, which means it's going to give you a 4-beat count in. If you really want that, you can do it, but I find that sometimes it's hard to synchronize your phone to the count in. So keep that in mind. So I'm going to leave it off. I have it set to off. Now that I've done that, I'm going to back out of this, and I'm ready to start my capture. But before I do, 2 things you want to do. Number 1 is set your level. I recommend on your phone, turn your headphone level all the way up. Make sure it's maximum. And then, I'm going to turn the volume down here in the room. I'm going to hit play. And I need to turn my input level until the capture. I'm going to go back to the beginning of the song, as I'm capturing just the beginning of this song to get that loop. And making sure the capture just... One more time. And it's okay if it blinks a little bit, but if it's staying on all the time, then turn it down. Right now I have it at about the 2 o'clock position on the input. Now the other thing I'm going to do is, as it's playing, I'm going to tap in my tempo with the tempo button. And it's roughly about 157, 158. Now that I've got that, now we're about ready to capture. Now, if you listen to the song, it's a big cymbal hit at the beginning. You have to ask yourself if you want that or not. I don't want that. So I don't want it to start every single time. So I'm not going to capture the first 2 measures. I'm going to capture the next 2 measures. So I'm just going to let it play and hit the capture button at the exact point that I want to start capturing. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Now. 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Boom. Because I want to get it before the bass comes in. And it's captured. Boom. Now I have that little snippet in there, and I'm okay with that. Boom. I'm going to pretend it's a bass fall. So I'm going to stop it for now. And what I have to do now is adjust the start and end point so the kick drum is exactly at the beginning of the loop. So if I turn the start knob, it automatically shifts the screen, the top of the screen, to give me a zoomed in image of my waveform. And I'm going to get it right before the transient starts. I'm going to do the same thing at the end. I'm going to make sure it's right before the kick drum. And then I can hit play here to check it. Boom. I'm okay with that. Stop. So that allows me to get the loop exactly right. Now that I've done that, this is where this little metronome app comes into play. Because what I need to do is I need to assign the BPM of this loop to this file. So what I have to do is go to the metronome, let it play, and I'm going to tap this in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I'll let it, usually I have to tap it about 8 times, and then I'm going to let the metronome play. I got to unplug this so I can hear it. We'll start it over. See if it feels about right. And you have to let it play for quite a bit. Actually, 158 is perfect. So what I'm now going to do to put this BPM into this file, I have to go back to the ARQ, turn the select knob to just one click over to the right, to get to my settings for this particular captured file. And I need to go to knob number 2 here, change it to page 2, and there's my BPM. And I'm going to set this to exactly 158. If you turn it really fast, it'll jump pretty quickly, but then you got to slow down when you get to the number. And we're there. The length should still be at 8 quarter notes, which is 2 bars. Got that. So we're about ready now to assign it to the looper. So I'm going to go to, and there's 2 options here at the top of the screen for capture. Assign to instrument pad, which is going to be good if you're going to use it in a pattern, or you can assign to looper if you're going to use it as part of the loops, so you can be able to trigger individual loops on and off. I'm going to assign to looper. I'm going to hit select. And you want to stay zoomed in here. You'll see that there are 3 options on the screen. The 3 options we have are assign, save only, and rename. It defaults to assign. You do not want to assign it yet. Because right now, if we don't rename it, it's going to be called user PCM 007. I have no idea what this is. So what I'm going to do is use the select knob to go to rename, press it, and I need to delete all the characters on the screen. And then spell the name of the band, Devo. Now you can't use any symbols or lowercase. Close, yeah. Hopefully it didn't stop the video. No, I did. Good. So I'm going to name the song. This is Whip It. I'm just going to call it Devo Whip, just to save us a little bit of time. Enter. So it renamed Devo Whip, but I still have to assign it to my looper. Now I've already have one pad open down here. You'll notice that this one's blinking here, so that's the one it's going to assign it to. So I just hit assign. It automatically assigns it, but you can assign it to any pad that's open and available, but you must have a pad open and available, otherwise you can't assign it. So if you've already filled your 32, you can see I've already got it pretty well filled, we're not going to be able to add it to anymore. So one thing I like to do with all my loops is I like to change my quantize setting on the screen, and it's already defaulted to the Devo Whip. If it doesn't say Devo Whip, then you're changing the wrong one. So you got to make sure you're on the Devo Whip. But I like to change the quantize setting to 16th notes, so I can start it in the middle of the loop rather than have to wait for it to always come back around. Other thing I recommend, if you want this loop to be at the same tempo as all the other ones, you have to hit edit to edit this particular loop. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll over to sync and turn on tempo sync. That's it. Once you've done that, if everything's right, you should be able to get out of the edit, hit the button to start playback, and if everything's right, you should be able to sync it with another loop. Now you notice that this other loop, if I play it, kind of getting a little broken up because the tempo's so fast that it just can't keep up with it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select it, start it over, and pitch it up so it doesn't sound so broken. Because the original tempo was at 102, and right now we're at 157. We're really high. So I find that I have to pitch things up to make it not so broken. Now it should work with Devo. So I find that sometimes you do have to adjust the pitch individually for each loop to help kind of get away from the breaking up of the sound whenever you change the tempo that much. So, but that's it. So that's how you assign your loop to your looper.